Svetlana Lazarova. I teach Latin at Palm Springs High School, and I am Carlston Family Foundation awardee. That's the word, right? 2010. Probably it's 4 pieces of advice. One that deals with what I think should be taken out of teacher training and teacher licensing programs, and that is the class or the course on classroom management. The more I teach and the more I deal with future teachers, the more I feel like that class of classroom management, that course of classroom management is unnecessary. If we devoted the time we spent on classroom management, quote unquote, to training teachers how to design more lively, more interesting, more relevant lesson plans, and to deliver them in a more relevant way, in an accessible and comprehensible way for kids, we will have fewer and fewer discipline issues, hence less need for classroom management. The best classroom management is a good lesson plan in which kids discover the knowledge and gain ownership of it. And then they're invested in what happens in the classroom. And the bell surprises them and they're unhappy that they heard the bell. It is when the kids start looking at the clock on the wall that I know I'm not doing something right, and before I know it, I may need classroom management, but I adjust by doing something differently. Obviously, I'm not doing my job rightly. So I think that classroom management business needs to be shifted into the skills of the craft, the knowledge of how to practice our craft and art in a way. The second piece is how to connect with our students. Perhaps I was in a very advantageous position being a second-generation teacher in my family. My mother was a fabulous high school teacher herself and program director eventually before she retired. And I knew that being a teacher does not mean to be the parent of the child. Does not mean to be the child's cousin, older sister, older sibling, aunt or grandmother at my age now. And that is, this child needs me as his or her teacher. They have a grandmother, good or bad. They have a mom, good or bad. They have a father, fit or unfit. But I am the only person who can be this child's teacher. It does not mean I don't love the child, but I have trained myself, first reluctantly, because I heard it from a mentor teacher myself, from my mentor teacher. I trained myself and I have internalized this healthy practice of keeping a healthy 10% distance, reservation from the entity of the student. In this way, I can more easily balance the emotional and the rational, between the emotional and the rational. And I can be of absolute help to the child in his or her own growth, both intellectually and emotionally. If I am 100% emotionally invested, I lose my ability to help to assess the situation, to assess the need of the child, and help the child eventually. And so I always share with younger colleagues or not so younger colleagues, with less experienced and quite experienced people who are at the verge of burning out on the job, dropping it, hanging it up, that maybe you need to step back and have a real life outside of the classroom. It doesn't mean you don't love your students, but it's a different kind of love. I'm mother only to one boy. and I am the teacher of all these other, now thousands kids, I guess, that makes me a better teacher and a better mother in my own little world of my own personal life. Again, it doesn't mean I don't love my students, but they need me as their teacher. And we don't teach this in teacher preparation programs, unfortunately. And often we have people come full of enthusiasm, but we cannot just go on enthusiasm. We have to involve the rational, the reflective. Police officers, physicians who deal with matters of life and death have this training of how to decompress after a severe event. We deal with matters of life and death too in a less tangible way, but we don't have this kind of training and psychologically healthy practices of, okay, I wash my day, my school day, my engagement with life and death, and now I can walk on my personal walk to home. These are healthy practices that we need to engage in, or at least discussion in which we need to engage. Third piece of idea, not advice. I don't want to give advice. I just have ideas. The third idea is that from day one, if we want to be considered professionals, we cannot wait. We should not wait to be permitted to be professionals. We are professionals because we are professionals, and a professional is always a leader in the field. So I don't want to give such advice as, oh, wait until you're tenured and then you will show your strengths. That doesn't happen. If I train you for 2 years or for 3 years to be careful, how am I going to untrain you? When was I truthful to the profession and to your humanity, and when was I lying to you? So a professional is always a leader in the content, a leader in the pedagogy. A professional is a leader and an explorer of the content, risk taker, error maker, and consequence owner. If I'm a professional, I need to be able to deal with my own errors and own them and build capacity out of those errors. And I think that's another one of the less tangibles that we don't speak about when working with prospective teachers. And I believe that this also needs to become part of administrative training and credentialing, how to avoid being control freaks and how to encourage exploration, risk-taking, and error-making, and owning of all the consequences. Lastly, and I will be short, that is taking responsibility for one's own professional growth. I think that if I'm still happy and enthusiastic and excited about what I do, is that I don't limit my professional life and growth to the classroom. I've become involved with professional organizations at local, state, and national level, international level. I've given workshops. I work with the California World Language Project, but before that with the Writing Project. Anything that puts me in this symposium, anything that puts me in contact with people of inquisitive mind and people who are willing to explore the profession and the field along with me and are not afraid to share their crazy discoveries or crazy thoughts or dislike of with what I say, Dislike and discussion are good. And we have become more and more a profession of followers, doers. Those outside tell us what is good for us. And it's very sad that we have agreed to be put in that position of a group of people who have no clue what it means to stand in front of 43 ninth graders and greet them in Latin and keep them in Latin for 45 minutes on their first day of school. So we are asked to agree that people who have no clue what it feels to stand in front of 43 children, we have agreed for them to tell us what is right and what is wrong to do with the 43 children. And I don't know why we've agreed, but I feel that we've agreed. And it's important to guide new teachers, future teachers, into questioning the status quo. We need to, just as we teach our students to question, we teachers need to question. Come on, Tom.